Hello, Classical Conversations families, friends, and future families. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Megan Griffin, who is Associate Provost and Dean of the College of Unrestricted Education at Southeastern University in Lakeland, Florida, to talk about our new and expanded partnership. Our community has become so much more knowledgeable about your college just from this announcement. Can you share some of the things about SEU that we might not be able to read on the website?
Sure. So anytime I'm introducing somebody to Southeastern University, who we are, what we do, one of the things I would want people to know is that our base is in Lakeland, Florida, but we're really a networked university. We have over 150 extension sites all across the U.S. We have a lot of international partnerships. Classical Conversations comes up in many of our conversations as we work with partners in Christian higher education. So we're really a networked campus. So no matter where you are, there's probably a Southeastern University outpost near you somewhere. And the other thing that's really important to know about SEU is that we talk a lot about a student's divine design, that God's wired us all with a unique purpose and unique giftings and callings, and we work with students on discovering and developing their divine design. So working with CC students is a great pleasure for us at SEU. We've had CC grads on our campus for many years, and we've been partnered with you all for about 5 years doing CC Plus. So we're very excited to just take that partnership to the next level.
That's great. Well, I'm so excited. I love that how you guys have just been so much on the forefront of really just developing new partnerships and pushing the envelope and just trying to find ways to serve people. And I love how you guys think about serving those students.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. We
Okay.
love SEU, but just tell us about your background and.
Okay. Well, like a lot of CC parents, I'm a mom first. I'm married to my husband, Lee. We've been married for 16 years. We have 3 kids. They are now 9, 7, and 5. And we were first introduced to Classical Conversations 4 years ago when our oldest was reaching school age. And at that point, I never thought that homeschooling would be a part of our story or our journey. But our family kind of went through a process of discernment, just kind of figuring out what the right thing for us would be. And during that process, I started asking some of my friends that had kids, what are you doing? And I started noticing that some of the families just have this certain way of being, this sort of peace and intimacy in their family. And I started focusing on those people. It's in those conversations that I found out about Classical Conversations, and I learned that our church actually had a community. And so long story short, that was our introduction to CC, and I found myself tutoring a group of wild 8-year-old boys, and it was a great intro. So during that year, I just read everything I could find about classical education, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it really tied together a lot of things that I thought, but I didn't know that there was a framework for it. What was hard about that year, and another thing about me, is that I've been a professor for quite some time. So at that stage, we were homeschooling our oldest, and I was working as a professor and department chair in a community college. And I had a rough year because I was feeling the dissonance between the type of education we chose at home and the type of education that I was spending my days on. And so I decided at the end of that first year with CC that I just wanted to be back in Christian higher ed. So long story short, the Lord brought me to Southeastern, and I didn't even realize that I'd have anything to do with the CC Plus partnership during that process. It was just something that God really orchestrated. And so now I'm in this amazing role where I get to support CC families through CC Plus and through the new degree while I'm a mom. So my first introduction to Classical Conversations parents was, of course, the folks at my church, but then I also went to a practicum that summer, and I really felt like during that first practicum, these are my people. They're professor parents, they're so well formed and informed, and they can go from like Chesterton quotes to lunch boxes to, Cheetos to, Latin, and just the ability to kind of fluidly do all those things. I just felt like I really found my people. And so it's been a pleasure to work with CC and to get to know more CC moms since then.
Yeah, great. Now tell me, we love that you came, through CC and that kind of impacted your life, and it sounds like it's done so in a beneficial way, and just that heart for you to give back to all these parents. So tell me a little bit about our master's program and how that got started from your perspective.
Sure. Well, it was really a bunch of things coming together at once. So, I'm doing my work. I'm working on the CC Plus program, educating my own kids and my own family, engaged with classical conversations. And I was also reading Cindy Rollins's book. It's like a homeschool memoir, Mere Motherhood. And in the last chapter, she asked the question about, or sets the stage for people to think through the question, like, what do you do after you've devoted your life to your own kids' education? And I'm nowhere near that stage. Like I said, my kids are 9, 7, and 5. But I was spending my days hiring professors to teach at our 150 locations. And that question hit me. And I was like, I know what to do with people after they've spent their career educating their families in this really rich model. Those are the people I want to hire to teach our college composition and history and other courses. So it kind of came together from there. You have this group of really deeply well-educated people, and we have this growing need in higher education for professors and adjunct professors. And I don't see any reason why we wouldn't want to bridge that gap and bring the two worlds together. So that's really how it came about.
Good. So that sounds like one of the aspects that you're excited about this program is just access to additional well-qualified teachers for your program, and then the impact that they can make on the students at SCU. So just tell me a little bit about that other side. Of course, we're always thinking about what that can do for our parents, but what's the kind of the benefit to SCU and why you guys are excited about it?
Well, and I'm thinking even beyond SEU. So in higher education generally, we have more adjuncts hired than ever before. We have a shift in higher ed to a model that requires that. But we also have this really well-qualified, deeply educated pool of people who've spent their lives becoming excellent teachers, and who really know how to deliver content in a way that is individual for people and can be scaled up and down. I mean, those are the kinds of skills for teaching that they're the hard things to teach. You could teach people a discipline, but teaching those things requires a lot of nuance, and CC parents have that. So the benefit is not just to SEU, but to colleges and universities and classical schools all over the place, that you've just got this pool of talent and divine design for some people. You are maybe born, but definitely built educators who know how to really reach a student's heart in a way that forms them. So that's, to me, the benefit of bringing parents into the MA and honoring the work that they're already doing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions I know that we've had since the release is people saying, well, what if I don't want to teach afterwards? Or maybe I'm not going to, I don't have any desire to go back and get my master's degree. Sure. But from your perspective, and I'll comment on this as well, like what benefit just having this program available, what benefit does it have to people who might not ever opt into it for one reason or another?
Well, I think one thing it does is it just acknowledges the real value of a CC education and the real value of a homeschooling parent. Whether you choose to pursue the degree or don't, you have the option to. And we honor or want to honor the kind of content that is part of a classical education, part of a classical conversations education. So I think it just speaks to the quality of the program your families have chosen, and that you guys have stewarded so well for all this time.
Yeah. One of the things that I also was going to ask about is the accreditation.
Sure.
We know that, tell us a little bit about SEU's accreditation, and then we're bullish on this program getting accepted by SACS But just tell us a little bit about what that process looks like, because I know people had questions about that as well.
Oh, sure. So anytime you're thinking about anything related to college at all, you want to look for an institution that's regionally accredited. I think most parents know that. Southeastern University is regionally accredited with SACS, which is the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. And we work with SACS continually on things like opening new campuses, opening new programs, and there's all kinds of processes for ensuring that you're meeting all of the standards and requirements when that happens. So we do this all the time. The MA in Classical Studies has already gone through every institutional process at SEU. So there's all kinds of committees and votes and things that have happened. Our leadership team, right up to our president, is thrilled about what we're going to be doing together. So we've already finished all of that work. We've notified SACS, and then SACS reviews applications for new programs twice a year, July and December. So we're right on track to have them review this one in July. And that's just the normal standard process. We do it all the time, so there's nothing different here.
And my understanding is you've never had one turned down that you guys are aware of?
No.
Good. So hopefully we'll see all that in July, early August maybe. I don't know how the coronavirus will affect that timing, but we are anticipating a summer acceptance. So happy about that. And of course, we've got our 100% money back guarantee for anyone who decides to join now. And then if we don't get that, obviously there's probably other steps that can be taken, but they're welcome to back out, and we'll give them their full money back. And that's how, secure that we stand behind.
This is a normal process. We see no reason to slow anybody down who wants to start in the fall while we finish up the process, because we're excited about the opportunity, and no reason for us to hang back.
Another question we've got is just that some people says, oh, this sounds too good to be true. Like, are you really doing the work? Like, is it really aligned with the Classical Conversations work that I'm already doing at home? So tell us a little bit about like how the classes will be conducted and what that might look like if I'm enrolled in the program.
Sure. Okay. So every course is set up so that it has at least 3 learning outcomes. So the learning outcomes, usually one has to do with the actual content of what a parent is reading or engaging with. And all of the courses that we're building are related to content already a part of the Classical Conversations program that you've either read for, it's either suggested reading at a practicum, or your students have read it and you've read it along with them. So the content is aligned with what CC's already doing. Then one of the outcomes for every class is relating that to either the discipline as a whole or classical education as a whole. So these are things that are going to be, parents are thinking through that all the time anyway. And then third, every course will include an opportunity to either practice teaching in a community or in your home, or delivering a training, or working as a director. So you can see that, in every single course, it's sort of built to encapsulate the things that are already happening. And then of course there's, writing and reflection and maybe portfolio stuff to do, but it's not outside of what's already happening in CC. It's all integrated.
Great. Yeah, my oldest, like yours, my oldest is 5. So obviously she's in foundations. So we might be reading, maybe a challenge 1 book or something in the class. We haven't gotten there yet as a family, but if we were, in challenge 1 for say, as an example, then we would be reading that same material. So, and then of course the work that we are doing with our kid at home and these other opportunities to demonstrate that and reflect on what we're doing will all be kind of integrated into what we're doing. So I think, earlier I had asked, like, how does other families benefit from this if they're not in the program? Well, all of these people who are in the program are all going to be that much better. And really, Classical Conversations about community. So if there's a mom or dad in your community that's in the program and they're thinking about these things and reflecting on them, I mean, you're going to be able to kind of absorb and have those conversations with them. And it's just going to make your community experience, that much more enriching, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we're even talking about including some of the trainings that you all do for directors and at any level. So you're right, it's just going to make training that much more integrated with what's happening in the community at large. Yeah, for sure.
Good. Tell me a little bit about the weekly workload. Obviously, it's going to vary, but is it We know it's over, about a 15-week course, or there might be some that are a little bit shorter. Is it self-paced, like I could do all my work in the first week or the last week, or is it going to be kind of like CC Pluses where you've got deadlines for different activities?
So we'll pace it so that everything is done within the space of a semester. But I think that anytime you're working with graduate students and especially parents who are teaching, there's all kinds of flexibility built in. So, I mean, we know that communities meet at different times. And what we do want to have is some engagement in the class where everyone's together talking about things at the same time, whether it's a webinar or a discussion of some kind. So there'll be some things that are built in that way. But really, I think the heart behind it is to make this totally doable for any classical conversations parent. And we know that you have other responsibilities. So we want to make it as flexible as possible.
Great. That's very good. What type of opportunities are going to be available, maybe job-wise, after someone graduates from this? Of course, we want them to teach or grade CC Plus papers.
Sure.
And continue directing classical conversations. But what else would a degree like this afford a parent?
Sure. So one of the options is, teaching in a K-12 classical school at some point. Another is there's all kinds of fields where a degree in humanities is very valuable. So there's writing careers and all kinds of other things. So there's existing liberal studies programs and classical programs all over the place. So those folks go on to do a wide variety of things. And then for me, of course, I was thinking mostly, in order to teach a college level course, you need a master's degree with 18 credits in a discipline. So we've designed the program with 7 kind of tracks. And each of those corresponds with qualifying for credentialing in a discipline. So a person who always dreamed of teaching college history has a pathway to do that. A person who always dreamed of teaching college composition has a pathway to do that. So there's all kinds of things that are possible.
Yeah, I mean, I even see like a lot of companies have training departments. I mean, this would be a great fit for that.
Sure.
Human resources. I know like tech companies are really big into hiring people that have humanities backgrounds, especially classical education backgrounds will be big once they kind of understand what that means. So I think that's it opens up so many different doors, even if someone isn't on a teaching path, which a lot of these people obviously have 10, 12, 20 years of teaching experience. Some of them are going to want to keep doing that, but that they can go on to do all sorts of different things as well.
Absolutely.
Now I understand you're going to be one of the professors leading the course. Tell me about, are there any other professors that are going to be involved? I'm sure that's going to expand and change over time, but just tell us a little bit about maybe who else is involved in these courses, at least the early on ones.
Absolutely. So one name that people may want to get familiar with is Dr. Grace Beach, who is, if you've had a student who's done CC Plus, you may already know her. So she's taught hundreds of kids through CC Plus. Right now she's working with Challenge 4 students on their thesis projects. So she will be one of the professors. We also are hearing from several existing CC parents who have doctoral degrees. So we're building the teaching team now. I will say that I've always been incredibly protective of anyone who has access to CC students. So you have to be an excellent professor. You have to love classical education, and you have to love homeschooling. So we're building the team now, and we have several people at SEU who are antsy to get in on it. I get stopped all the time by people who say, hey, when can I work with some more CC students? Hey, when can I work with some more CC students? So we're building it out now, but Grace Beach is somebody who we work with a lot, and she'll be there. I'll be there. Dr. Joe Childs is going to be teaching some courses, and then of course we're open to building out the team.
Great. Yeah, I know that's going to be one of the key aspects for us, as we've seen just tremendous demand even in this first week. We filled up the first kind of classes, and you guys are generous enough to open up a few more spots for us.
Absolutely.
But we'll definitely need to continue to build out that team. And how exciting just to see an opportunity for these homeschooling moms that, PhDs that we have inside CC. We didn't even know about them, right?
Right.
Stepping up and willing to help grade and facilitate. obviously giving them opportunities to use the skills that they have, as well as pouring back into all these homeschooling moms and dads who are going to be in the program. So it's just that
Absolutely.
virtuous cycle that Classical Conversations parents get in, where good begets good,
Absolutely.
good, and makes us all better. So
yeah,
that's great. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners and viewers, since we're doing this on video?
Yeah, well, anytime I get an opportunity to say anything to CC parents, I always want to start with, look, I know that what you see is what's happening in your home, at your dining room table, and in your community. I have the incredible opportunity to sometimes get to see, from a global perspective, all that's happening with Classical Conversations. So I just want to encourage parents that you've chosen wisely. Keep going. I have parents ask a lot about college readiness, and a lot of the time, anyone who's heard me speak before, I've said this 100 times. Colleges aren't ready for your kids, so don't worry about college readiness. Stick with CC all the way through Challenge, and you are more than prepared. And so I just want to affirm that the work is good work. You've chosen well. Your communities are beautiful, and we're just excited to partner. And Robert, I just want to thank you for your leadership and this continued partnership, and how well you're stewarding CC and all the families, and it's exciting.
Well, thanks. That's humbling, and I appreciate that. And yeah, it's really easy as a homeschool dad myself to see everything that you're doing at home. Oh, they won't listen, or oh, why can't I get them to eat their food, or oh man, math was a struggle today, or Latin was a struggle today, and just think that because that's your world, and just be so focused in on it that it's hard to sometimes take your step back and just see this beautiful child, this beautiful adult that you're helping raise, that the Lord's given you. And so I just love the way you put it, and just how it helps.
We see the fruit.
Yeah.
Yep, we see the fruit, and CC students are very in demand on college campuses. So keep going. Yeah.
No, good. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for your time. I know you're getting busy, getting ready for a busy August, and I'm sure the coronavirus has put a kink in a bunch of your plans as well as ours, and we're all just trying to work through it well. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking some time today to talk to me and just answer some of these frequently asked questions that we're hearing from families that may have thought that this was too good to be true. We're happy to say that it's not, and that it is real. And looking forward to having you join us in Classical Conversations communities this fall, and excited to see this first batch of students really engage with all this classical material that we've been stewarding all of these years. And just, we couldn't pick a better partner than you, Megan, and all that you guys are doing at Southeastern University. Thanks for the water bottle.
You bet.
Water bottle, yep. And you guys can go to ccdegrees.com to find out more information about this unique and wonderful program that we've got together. So ccdegrees.com for more information.
Great.
And have a blessed day.